the time. Perfect. So I think we have everybody here. So we'll do a quick round of intros and then we'll get right to it. So I don't know if I met everybody. I'm Verona Aronson. Been at Base for a little bit over 3 years now, head of CLG programs. So I work a lot. You see me on Fanbase sometimes, my videos, and work with customers as well. Free for all. Who's next?
I can.
Oh.
Okay, go on. Dustin, who was talking?
You can go ahead.
Okay, so I'm Sonia. I'm customer advocacy manager at Temenos. Temenos is a banking software company, and I've been here for 5 years now, and we are basically a new customer of Base. So we have launched the program. It's more than a month right now. So yeah, we are happy to be here.
And I'm Dustin Huffman. I'm with Five9. We're a cloud contact center company, and we are in the middle of implementation of Base. So I'm just here to kind of hear best practices and gain any new insights.
I'll go next. I'm Lisa Gasperi. I am with Docebo. We are as well new and currently implementing Base, which is super exciting. And I am here just to learn as well and see what everybody else is doing. I know I've got about 7 years under my belt using other platforms, so super excited to see how everyone's using Base and what we can do with it.
I'll go. I'm Stephanie Pizzuti. I am the advocacy manager at Hexagon. We are basically, design and maintenance software for industrial facilities. And then we've gone through the implementation, and we recently kicked off our advocacy program at the beginning of the year. So we're kind of just getting our feet under us as well, but we're starting to definitely use it more.
I guess that leaves me for last, well, except for the Base team. I am Angela Kelleher. I'm based in Ireland and I work for Malwarebytes. I am a customer marketing manager and take care of the advocacy program for our corporate side of the business. And apologies, I have to drop off literally right now.
Well, it's good seeing you.
Thank you. Hopefully we'll get to see the results of this afterwards.
Absolutely. We'll definitely send it over.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Great. And from our wonderful Base team, I'll let you guys introduce yourselves.
I'll go.
So I'll jump
in.
in.
Go ahead. I'll go last. Yeah, I'll go last.
Okay, sorry. Okay. So hi everybody. Some of you may know me already. I am Jessie. I'm with the CS team at Base. I'm joining for moral support and also look forward to learning a little bit more about everybody and hearing what some of the things you're looking to attain as far as goals go. I've been here for about a year and some change now. So yeah, thank you all for joining.
I'm Nitsan. I'm from the marketing team. And I'm just really excited to be here and to meet you all. So thanks.
And I'm last. My name is Monica. I am a CSM as well, and I will be here for moral support too. Just like Jessie said, Dustin and Stephanie, we got this. Those are my two people that I help. Yeah, I've been at Base for about 7 months now. Feels like longer, but 7 months.
Feels like a lifetime.
In the best way possible.
Absolutely. Cool. So I want to kick this off, kind of ask you what kind of questions you have, what you want to kick off, what you want to know about preferences in general, and then we can dive into how do we do this with Base, what are best practices and stuff like that.
really
Anyone wants.
really the first question that comes to mind is, do you have a strategy in place where you are going to allow your teams to self-serve, or are you going to do mostly managed and work that through your reference manager or your advocacy team? So I'm very curious on that.
I can start on that. So we are going down the managed route. I think definitely to get started. I know, like probably many others, a one-person team. So hopefully we'll continue to scale and grow, and it will become unmanageable. In which case, we'll maybe look at that self-service piece. But I think to really get started, it's a new concept, at least for our company. So I did want to kind of have my hand in that. I do want to have some self-service options, I guess, available as far as like reporting goes, or if they want to see what logos can be used or what content's available, I want them to have a spot to kind of go and find that themselves. And then I would help kind of manage the actual reference call requests or visits that kind of come through. And that's kind of how we're handling it so far.
From our point of view, we have a hybrid way of doing customer reference program. So we have actually created in Salesforce a reference search tool where our salespeople can find the references, and we have managed to get as much information as possible updated in Salesforce, because that's another big challenge that we have. Not all the information is updated always, and not always updated. So we have this reference search tool where our sales can find the references based on specific filters. But they can also come to us for more tricky questions. Our team. Also case studies, different assets, we have them available for them to self-serve, to see whether that is valid, it's something valid for their deal. We have these assets on our website. We also have Seismic using where all these assets are uploaded. And of course, the reference process where they can log in the calls. They can either, there's lots of communication between our salespeople internally, so many emails going back and forth. But we are also encouraging them to keep us in the loop so that we are aware what's happening and that no call leaves without being logged in. And we get to know how many customers we are using, if we are bombarding more customers with references than others, and whether we can find other alternatives as well. So it's kind of a hybrid way, I would say.
Dustin, how are you guys envisioning it?
So we haven't completely switched to how we're going to be using it, but we are prepping it to be a peer-to-peer, so unmanaged, so that they can pull up how they showed earlier, the list of customers that match that for reference. I believe that we're going to be doing the self-service, you can do it where you find the content, you can just look that up. But we also use Seismic for that as well. We have a Seismic page where we have all of our content. At the moment, what we are using is a type form system where it's completely managed. They submit a form to me, the reference manager, and I will I will go pick them out a few reference options, and we will go from there. As far as, so I thought it was interesting, Sonia, that how y'all manage the behind the scenes requests, the internal communication between the salespeople. That is something it's difficult.
It's not easy to manage, of course. We have a lot of calls with these people, with all our salespeople, to encourage them to let us know what's happening. At least our name, the fact that the team exists is very important, right, so that we are in the loop of the conversation.
Mm-hmm. I didn't mention this, but I've been at 5'9" for a year now, but this is my first year in a reference team in a position. So all of these things I'm still learning. We're still learning how to do all these things.
Listen, I've been at it for 3 years. I'm still learning.
Me too. 5 years. Same.
It is a constant learning.
Yes.
No matter how
Yeah.
long you've been in it, there's always something new. There's always something to pull from somebody else. And I know so you've been at your position for a year. So I've been with Docebo not even 2 months yet. And so it's still super new. And like I said, I was in advocacy at a previous company. I still feel like I'm brand new and I'm green, even though I've done it for a few years. So it's always exciting. But I think one of the keys, no matter what you choose to do, because we as well are going down the managed path for the reference calls, but definitely looking at self-service for the content as well, because if it's an approved logo, it's an approved logo. It doesn't change. If you can find it, please have at it, take it, use it for your presentations or our customer stories, for example. I don't need to approve that every time you come to request that. Find it, use it, take it, off you go. You don't need me to bottleneck that for you. But one of them, really the key for us, is communication, is getting on those sales calls, being the face, and just being that constant reminder going, hey, we're here to help you. This program is for you to make you successful. So if something isn't working, tell us. We'll change it. We'll tweak it. We'll make it to work for you, right? Because I can think all day long, okay, I want all these filters. This makes perfect sense to me. But are the prospects asking for those things? Maybe, maybe not. So it's really going back and going, okay, when your prospect is asking you for a reference, what are they really asking for? Are they asking for use case? Are they asking for industry, feature, functionality? And getting to the nitty gritty of the actual request is not, oh, well, I need 3 because it's in an RFP. Okay. Yeah, we still need to put some parameters around that. So the hope is that when we do the onboarding of our internal teams, it really is going to be a lot of education. So it's asking the right questions when you get asked for a reference. Don't just go, oh, okay, I will go grab you 3. Nope. You need to put some parameters around it, which then also allows you to go in, and if we put the proper tagging in, will allow you to self-serve and go, oh, we do have a pool. Perfect. Now I can put my request in. So that for us, I know, is definitely going to be one of those things, because Dustin, we're very similar, where it's a form that they have to fill out with all the details possible, where Base connects you directly into Salesforce, so you can go and look at the opportunity. You don't need to ask your salesperson, oh, I need all these details, because the current system doesn't live in Salesforce. So
Can I hop in with a question, if that's okay? Lisa,
Sure.
on your thanks, Rhoda. On your you said it's really key that sales enablement, right? That you have a really strong relationship with your sales team. I'm curious if there is, I know you're implementing, if there's a strategy that you're doing right now with your sales team, like are you engaging them in the processes you're implementing, or are you like maybe bringing them in like later? Like what does it look like to get that sales buy-in? Because I know that tends to be a piece that I think during like implementation we may like miss, because we're so focused on the nitty gritty of setting up the program, but we don't think strategically about what it's for our counterparts to be successful. So I'm curious as to if you have a plan or what that looks like.
Wouldn't call it a plan, but we definitely have, where we are doing essentially road shows with our CSM teams and saying, hey, here's our team, don't forget about us, here's your current process. But oh, guess what? We're rolling out this really new, awesome tool that is going to allow you to do nominations, reference requests, content and so on to get them excited. And we've also kind of handpicked a couple to kind of be the beta testers, if you will, and say, okay, does this make sense for you? Do you understand when we say we want to put a nomination in for the reference pool, for example? Do you understand what reference pool means? Because advocacy speak is pretty much a very unique language where not everybody speaks it. They're just like, hey, I need a reference. And a reference to a salesperson can mean so many different things. So it's really getting an understanding. So one of the things that I will be tasked with that I'm doing kind of, sort of, not really, which I will need to do, is the documentation that just says, okay, what this means to Docebo. So when we say, hey, I need a use case, because in the Docebo world, use case is very specific. So it's almost, in a sense, we need to tweak some of the wording. So when someone comes and says, hey, I need a use case, well, is it a use case, or do you mean it's a white paper or a customer story, for example? So just having those communication lines open right now, because everyone is super excited, right? Because today we go to no less than 7 different locations to try and source customers. 7 different locations. I'm like, it blows my mind. So we're all, it's all going to funnel into Base for us.
Amazing.
And live in Salesforce.
I
And
always
really-
say, and go ahead, Monica. No.
No. I was just gonna say, really great call out for the road show. I'm curious though, and we can answer it later, but right after you go, how big your CSM team is. I'm like just curious to understand what a continuous enable looks like.
It is definitely growing, and I think overall globally it's just under 100.
Okay.
We'll just
Amazing.
put an approximation. It's just under 100 right now, but again, the team is growing because it is still very new. It's a new function for us. So
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing. That was very insightful.
Along those
So-
lines too, with the beta testers, I think that's a great idea. Also, we try to just shout out people who are following the process, or like, right now we were doing like a nomination campaign when we first kicked off. So just recognizing those that are nominating the most customers to the program, using it the correct way. And then also just kind of having like your own little internal champion to help kind of get it amongst the rest of the team who maybe is not following the process.
now,
Yeah.
do you use the reports and potentially do like a leaderboard shout out for the folks that are nominating and putting that out there?
That would be cool. I mean, mine right now, I'm just kind of pulling the top, kind of looking at, the reporting, but yes, that would be cool to put it in like a leaderboard style.
Well, Lisa, are you guys planning on using the Salesforce dashboards to showcase the top
100%.
nominators and all that
Yes.
stuff? Okay, cool. Because I was gonna add before when you said, yes, we have beta testers. And I always say, and Stephanie's heard me say this before, don't look for those quiet salespeople. Look for those loud, obnoxious salespeople. Have them your beta testers, because if it goes well with them, everyone's gonna know about it.
Absolutely. And I know for me, so I'm definitely relying on my team because I'm so new. I don't know everybody's personalities yet. So I can't go, oh, I need this salesperson, I need this CSM, because I'm still learning everyone and just getting to know how they interact with our customers as well. So it's definitely just a learning process throughout for me, which is pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Cool. Now I have a question too. How do you keep your CS teams, your account managers, excited about the program enough to continue nominating, customers into the program? And do you define whether what they're good to do after speaking to them, or is it your CSMs that say, hey, I want to recommend so and so for these specific activities?
I can answer, I guess, from my perspective again. We do for the nominations, I think it is kind of, what they think they'd be good at, but I always like to kind of just have that conversation then with the customer. Obviously help get them officially enrolled within the portal, where they can kind of opt in and we can really get an understanding of what they truly want to do. So that's kind of how we handle that piece at least.
So it's more of a white glove
Yes, yeah.
conversation with every one of the
Mm.
people that is nominated.
So far, yes. We'll see. Yeah, the floodgates, I mean, that's kind of just been trickling in since we've kind of started it with kind of the internal nominations first. So I think that has actually helped us just to kind of, again, get our feet under us, figure out how it's all going to work, before we kind of push the big external, promotion to the broader customer base. And then to your other point too, I think we are lucky, at least for our CS team. They've got KPIs tied to advocacy. So that's been great to have that in our organization, kind of pushing that on them. So it's hopefully always going to be front of mind for them to continuously have that motivation.
What kind of, if you don't mind me asking, like what kind of incentives do you give to them?
Well, it's
Or
ran by the
they're,
customer
yeah.
success team, so they've got dollars tied to it. So if they meet, their certain KPIs, then they get their kind of payout.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I know Temenos is doing something interesting too, if somebody wants to share, around the reference contacts. And it's different than any other company that I've heard of, and it works, apparently.
Well, yeah, for the nominations, it's working a bit differently. We have different ways of nominating people. So we are either asking our contacts, our customers, to join the ambassador program from our website. We also have a very big event that is happening actually in Vienna this year. So every year we have an annual event where our customers are coming, and that we ask them if they want to join the ambassador program. That we call it the ambassador program. So that is very much tied with the reference program. Also, our salespeople are very much aware of the program, and they want their customers to be part of the program, to do references, etc. So when they hear about new joiners in a bank, for example, or when people are leaving, we are replacing them with a new ambassador. So it's a very complex process. It's not one single process to do the nominations. And of course, our salespeople love the ambassador points that we are giving to our customers when they do these references. So when a person leaves, for example, the bank, and another one joins, we are transferring the points to the other person. So this helps a lot with the new nominations. So what has happened though recently is that in many regions we seem to have KPIs about having at least 1 or 2 ambassadors in each bank that we have in the region. So this is something new that has been added into the program, and we look forward to those nominations. But I'm getting some really good ideas from this meeting actually, about the shout out, about how to highlight those salespeople who nominate as many ambassadors as possible. Yeah.
I know people love when both internal and the advocates love when you highlight them, right? So even doing within I was going to say the portal, the program, when you highlight one of your customers or your advocates and do like an advocate spotlight, people love that. You're like, hey, we're going to interview you, and then we're going to do like a 1-pager, and then we're going to put it, it's going to be customer or advocate facing and all that stuff. And people are very, very much into it. So that's one of the things that I like as well.
And our ambassadors love also the fact that we are giving them a special Visionary Leadership Award at our event. So we are doing a lot of things to engage with our main references our main advocates, ambassadors. And we are giving them special pins at our event, so everyone can see who is the ambassador, who are these people. And we are talking about C-level here. We are talking about CIOs at banks or head of business. So they are really senior people, and they love the engagement.
Cool. Anybody else has anything that they want to throw out before I do? Because I would love to hear. Go ahead, Sonia.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, when you, for example, from the experience of the rest of the people in the call, when you get requests for references, and the salespeople are asking for the same customer all over again, it's like the same, because they are, of course, they are like the best reference. How do you persuade them to go to another one and not use this one?
Oh, that's an amazing question. I love it.
That absolutely is. So I'll jump in. I think it's really having that relationship with your sales team and getting on a call with them and truly highlighting the best fit that is not the customer that they constantly want. Like, oh, I want customer A, I want customer A. Customer A is awesome. Well, guess what? Customer B is equally as awesome, and here's why. And because within your program, being able to report on revenue influenced, that is a huge number, a huge metric, I think, for any company. If you can showcase and highlight, hey, customer B has helped influence this much revenue, it's one of those things where it's just like, oh, okay, well, maybe I'll take a chance. And, hearing as well, because the feedback loop and understanding how the calls happen, what the feedback is from other calls that they've taken, also bringing that forth and going, hey, here's what other, prospects, now customers, have said with speaking to customer B, for example. So it's leading them in a different direction, but providing the proof points. So that's one of the ways that I've done it.
Mm-hmm.
How do you collect that feedback? What do you ask them?
Honestly, it varies. Right now, it really is, it's ad hoc, or I guess previously, because obviously we haven't rolled out yet, but it was ad hoc, and it was just like, how do you feel the call went? Did you, get all your questions answered? Were there any follow-ups? And it's just really, the hope is to get feedback just in general, because a lot of the times when you ask for feedback, you don't get feedback. So because again, it's very informal. There was really no, rigid process or, automated process to do that. It was really just, hey, reaching out. We understand the call happened. Would love to hear your feedback. And if they responded, great. If not, okay, you just move on. So yeah. And
that's done by your team?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And again, so I'm talking historically. So right now here at Docebo, great question, because that was actually going to be my question, that does Base have the feedback loop? We haven't gotten there yet. And so we're moving so fast. We're not there yet.
Sonia, do you want to answer? Because you guys do great feedback.
Yes, we have included that in the last, let's say, step of the reference process. So we have created a specific form and a link to the last step of the process. But that's a question that we have asked Base to help with, to include that in the process itself. So when people are getting, the salesperson or the opportunity owner is getting the question, have you completed, has this call taken place or not? Can you give us your feedback based on these 3 questions? So we ask them specific questions. How did it go? Was it positive? Was it honest feedback? And were there any specific challenges that were mentioned during the call, which most of the opportunity owners would say, I don't know, I wasn't there. So yeah. But yes, this is something that we have in our process. We have been mandated by our exco to have this kind of feedback loop. And we'd appreciate Base to include it in the process, actually, because right now it's like two links. We need to click on ask them to click on two different links, while with this one we want to just make it in one.
Stephanie, do you guys do any feedback after the call?
Yeah, it's kind of a simple ad hoc kind of way right now too. So yeah, that would be cool to have kind of the automated feedback for sure. And you know, I think too we're still pretty segmented with the sales group that's using the program. They're almost like our beta testers, I guess, in a way. Although it's open for the company wide. We launched it at our sales kickoff. But it has been kind of a slow trickling in process, which I think has been helpful. But I think as we grow, it'll be important to definitely be documenting that.
Absolutely. I want to go back to the beginning of the conversation because I know Docebo is now in implementation, you know, 5.9 is, and going back to, do we do managed or do we do peer-to-peer? My personal take on it, it's never, you know, one size fits all. And it really depends on the type of opportunity, you know, how big the opportunity is, where it's from, do we have advocates in that area, and so on and so on. So one of the things that we're releasing relatively soon is what we call conditional references, saying, hey, when we pull from the opportunity, if the opportunity is in, I don't know, this size, this location, this product, this, run it through flow A, a managed process. If it's a, you know, small deal or this type of company or this industry or whatnot, then we're going to let it do a peer-to-peer and run a different flow. So it's something, you know, I think will really enhance the product. But also, you know, it's like no advocate's the same. No, you know, no process is going to be the same.
Mm-hmm. That's exciting because I think that'll be helpful too, where you have gaps, right? Where we don't have enough advocates for specific requests. So until you have that for all areas, it would probably be hard for the self-service piece. So that's exciting. Yeah.
Cool. Any other questions? Anything we want to open up here?
Regarding the logos, if I may ask, what is your processes? What are your processes, or what is one process that you have about logo approvals? And do you look into the contracts, for example, or do you go to the customers to ask for approvals?
This is actually a really hot topic for our company right now. Everyone kind of has differing opinions on it. We obviously, you know, as they join the program, they have the option, you know, we have the ask out there, can you opt in? But yeah, I guess I don't have a great answer. But I think, you know, because there's some contracts that have it in there. We have that ask out there. Sometimes, you know, we have like which I got this idea from somebody else. Now I can't remember who. We almost have like an internal logo. Like, hey, these are like, obviously our big customers that we have, but these can't be, you know, posted or shared publicly. But I think that just kind of helps for some of those questions of like, you know, just who in general are customers. But then we're slowly adding kind of a managed logo slide that I'm trying to get my arms around because everyone's kind of got different versions. But yeah, so I don't have a great answer besides that we're trying to tackle that too.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah.
we have legal on our back.
Yeah.
Yes, I know for us, it's part of our contract. It's a publicity clause and there's varying degrees of it. So it's, you know, public logo use, it is earnings calls, it is internal sales slides where, you know, it can be used for internal purposes, but not published on a website, for example.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
yes, but the sky's the limit though, right? There's so much more than just a line item in a contract that it's just like, oh, if we could only go that step further.
Yeah.
But what's the perfect answer? And I don't think there is one, in my opinion.
Indeed. Yeah. But we are all learning from each other. So yeah, if I hear something that is, something that we haven't done, maybe yes, but we have done all that internal slides, then managed, then going back and asking for approvals and again. It's like it's not self-served 100% either in our case. So we are still on that hot topic. It's hot everywhere.
See, it's not just you. And along the same lines, how do you feel about advocacy clauses in the contracts in general?
Our legal team is not has they don't agree about having the advocacy clause in the contract, not in all the regions. It depends on the region in our case. So some regions they are more reluctant, others they are more open to it. Also depends on the banks. If the banks are tier 1s, tier 2, it's not going to be like we have clients that are really top, but we cannot mention them. We cannot use their logos. And it's not in the contract either. So, or in the contract it says to not use the logo. So every time we need to ask for approvals on those big logos. So it's still it's an open discussion with all the regions for us.
Yeah, we kind of have a similar case. It varies by region because some say, every single time this comes up in red lines. And so a lot of them want to scratch it, but then, it's not as big of a deal to certain regions and certain segments. So it's kind of a mixed bag for us as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think for us as well, it all depends on what it's actually asking. Like if you're putting in, okay, if you sign with us, you need to do one reference call a quarter, for example, that's going to get redlined. It's just having that commitment before you've even used the product. It as well seems very self-serving. It's one of those things where it's like, no, wait a second. We want you to be an advocate because you want to be, not because we've forced you to be. So it's very much if, and again, logos completely different than getting someone to speak on your behalf. So it's one of those things where it's just like, do you or don't you? And honestly, I'm very against having someone agree to it in a contract, because what if your contacts aren't great at public speaking and they just don't have an interest in being an advocate like that? So you're almost forcing their hand. That's not how we want our program. We want you to be an advocate because you want to be an advocate. So it's your choice.
Yep.
Right?
Definitely. So we're out of time, and then Nitzan is actually going to take us back to the main room to wrap up. Stephanie, you're going to represent us in the main room and kind of key points, stuff like that, what we learned, what we want to know. We want to know logos. But it was so nice to chat with you guys. I really hope we get to do this again.
Yeah, it's great.
Yep.
Very cool.
It has been great.
All right. See you all in the main room.
All right.
Throwing us out of here.
It says it will actually close in about 50 seconds or so.
There you go. And we're here first. I thought, Nitzan, I thought you were going to tell me, no, it's so late. You got to get in.
No, we're the first. So
obviously this means we're the best group. We're the best,
definitely,
obviously.
Definitely.
Of course. Thanks, Monica. I don't want to say
you're welcome.
myself.
just looking out for us.
Welcome back.
How are we doing?
Doing great. We had like pick
The
one.
rest, everybody else should be joining in around 20 seconds or so.
Everyone's back.
Yeah, we were just kicked in the middle of a sentence. Cool. So I know we have just a couple more minutes. At least in our room, we didn't. I think we just touched the surface, and there's a lot of more questions that we're waiting for to be answered. And I think everybody. One of the things we can try to is connect people between the rooms. So like, I mean, if you didn't do that, so just reach out on LinkedIn. But we will try to also just share perhaps the LinkedIn's of all the people that participated in this for you to connect and ask questions and just have this direct. It's very helpful. In our room, for example, I know we have people from more mature companies and mature programs like Nuance and Cisco, and then people who are just this is their first year with the program and they have different questions and different kind of things. So super excited that we were able to do this and again get you all connected. I guess if each team or room has maybe one thing they wanted to share, one best practice they learned about or something or that they thought that would be really good for others to think about or know, we can kind of try and do that. Rona, maybe let's start with actually the customer room.
So Stephanie is going to represent our room.
Sure, yeah. I guess if I had to pick one thing, we talked about a lot, which was great. I think one thing that kept coming up is kind of that strong communication with your sales team and enabling them kind of as you're rolling out the platform. We talked about like spotlighting almost like in a leaderboard of, different folks that are nominating, are following the process, just kind of building those internal champions to help kind of evangelize the program for you amongst, the internal teams that will be using it. But yeah, a lot of good conversation.
Great, thank you. Mikael, from your room, anybody can share what you guys talked about?
Yeah, if anyone from my room, Kristen, Rebecca, Allison, Sarah, Jocelyn, if anyone wants to jump out and maybe share a key finding from our discussion, go ahead.
It's the quiet room.
We weren't quiet.
Lisa wants to say something.
We weren't quiet. I'll say something if nobody else does. We had a good conversation. I think we touched on a lot of the same issues, and I think one of the key things that ran throughout our conversation though was that tools and software and processes that support what you're trying to accomplish and keep you focused on the business. I think that's what distilled for me from the conversation.
Great. And then anybody else from that room or?
Any room?
So for my room, before I kind of share one thing that I took away, I don't know if anybody from my room wants to talk as well and share, that would be great. I also had a question.
I was really impressed with everybody in my room. I really appreciate their generosity and sharing their information and best practices. And I really got to leave with some great ideas to work on implementing on my side. So thank you, everyone.
So I think for me, like two cool takeaways from the room that I was in. I mean, just more in the same room. So basically, like I said, we had like two different programs. One of them was super mature, like, Cisco and Nuance, and then, the more kind of newer rolling out programs. Again, going back to talking to sales, one thing we had there, and somebody shared like, Becky shared like a video that she did with Woody Woodpecker anyway, whatever. But I mean, like telling sales, like, about this program. And I think, and something we've learned time and time again is that getting sales buy-in and getting them to participate in the program and understand what it is super, this kind of breaks it or makes it in many times. It doesn't matter how great your program is, how great your tool is, you have to get sales buy-in. And that's, you have to be very, I guess, smart and focused on enablement by saying, hey, this is the value for you salespeople. this is the value for our customers. This is what's in it for them. We're protecting their time. We're building their brand. We're maybe giving them some rewards and whatnot as well. We're giving them access to network with peers and so on. But there's like, this is why it's good for our customers. So nominate them to the program, but also kind of know why we're doing it for them. This is why it's good for you, salespeople. We're going to find the best match we can for you. We're going to do it, in a way that we can track it and know that, customers are okay and you're not getting a customer that's not happy, calls to place and so on, and so on. And then basically also telling them that you're going to track it. And a lot of times we say there should be kind of a carrot and a stick. Like ideally when you roll it out to sales, aside from it being super easy for them to participate and share, nominate people or request a reference, see content and whatnot, they should kind of say, hey, let's run a month or 2 months or a quarterly spiff and see which are the salespeople that nominated the most to the program, or which are the salespeople that requested the most references, and or which are the salespeople that their most deals were closed won with reference influence. And then you create a motion inside the sales team where all the other sales teams say, okay, if I do that, I could also get that spiff, or I can be like that. So you got to create excitement inside sales, and they just like competitions. So you got to create excitement inside sales to actually kind of have the first ones take on this challenge and show others how they actually participate and collaborate on reference. And that way you get higher sales collaboration. But then that's the carrot, right? But then the stick kind of approach would be, hey, if you go out and reach out to customers directly, or if you don't, don't kind of do your references on your own and don't nominate and don't participate in the program, then, it will be harder for us to support you. Maybe slower kind of response time, maybe that your customer, like we've had cases where customers came and said, hey, I did the reference, I should have gotten my reward. And then you come to the salesperson, you say, well, that didn't go through us. We didn't know about this reference. We can't give them the reward. And then the salesperson kind of learns, okay, next time I have to go through these guys. So, I mean, carrot and stick approach many times work, but definitely share with them what's in it for them, how this program is great, both for sales, but also for your customers and for your brand, for your company overall. These people will be champions and will do much more than just reference calls eventually. So yeah, with that, thank you everybody for participating. Again, we'll try to create a connection between all of you so you could keep on asking questions and have these open discussions. People are very open in this industry, which is great, and share knowledge. And good luck with your programs.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.